Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to tradingsyndicate.org. How are you? Hey, Badir, Trademaker, Cisco. How you guys doing? Good, good, good. Bit of a slow night again, eh? Pretty much half the volume we had yesterday at this time. Hey, Ian. Marcus, how you guys doing? Good morning. Oh, boy. Well, let's see what we can get up to tonight or this morning. Little, little difficult trading again because they've gone in increased margins because there's news at 8:30 Eastern. Got to be aware of that. You take out quite a bit of the retail traders when you raise margins. So we have, what do we have? CPI, Magnum PI, one of the PIs, right? That's what we've got going today. Hey, Stuart. Please do bring in a question. I love it when you guys ask questions. Fire away. What do we look for if inventory corrects itself in Asia, London? Okay. Well, good question. Overnight inventory is still short. The majority of the trading is still underneath the close. It was short and then it corrected itself up to the close, and now it's right kind of going back and forth at the close. There's a reason for this. Okay? So usually what we do, if inventory is long before London opens, we'll look for a correction lower. All right? Now, here's the problem. And I did a video on this. I don't know where the hell I put it. It's somewhere in the JJ video section, and it's on time frames. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Hola, Juan. ¿Qué pasa? Here's the thing. Time frames. Now, just bear with me on this. See, overnight inventory can be short as a whole, and then sometimes the inventory within the overnight is long or short. So right now, inventory is just kind of going back and forth over the close. It's choppy. There's fewer people around. But what you want to do, there are different time frames. So the whole session of overnight inventory is short. However, when you go look at a 1-minute candle wax chart, you could see that inventory for the last couple of hours is long over 7,000. So this is one time frame. This is the time frame of what I call the session. This is the time frame in a shorter time frame. And I know that can be confusing, but there are different time frames of traders in a market. See, we trade, what, a couple of minutes? Some people hold for hours. Some people swing. These are what we call time frames. And within each time frame, the inventory will be long or short. Now, that's really confusing, isn't it? Right? So how do you keep track of it? This is why you guys, thanks Cisco, this is why I use these levels. See, you guys are always like, should we use crossovers and moving averages and all of that? None of those things keep track of inventory as well as these charts with the boxes. Because you know where your cost basis is. If you're above your cost basis, guess what, Stuart? Inventory is long. If you're below your cost basis, then inventory is short. It's very, very simple. Are we full porting CPI today? Well, if you explain to me what that means, full port, is that like a data port? Are we going to plug a cable into it? I don't know. But if you explain it to me, maybe I could. I don't know what you're talking about. What does full port mean? Must be one of these newfangled sayings. Remember, I'm an old guy. I don't understand the lingo, right? Like Dr. Evil said. So does that make sense, Stuart? This is why I use cost basis, because it simplifies all of this crap. Right now, we are distributing over 7,009. Yeah, I don't think about, well, it could be a higher probability, but I don't talk about probabilities because probability means nothing if the order flow doesn't support it. Do you know what I mean? And this is really frustrating for people who are black and white A and B, right? So if we accept under 7,000, you'd look for moves down to VWAP, right? That's why we use if then. Oh, it means going all in on one trade, right? Oh, they go all in long or short? Oh, it's like going to Vegas and betting it all on red or black? That's pretty fucking stupid. Excuse me. Oops, I didn't mean to say that out loud. All right. Oops. Little slip of the tongue there. Uh, I'll blame it on the cold medication. Oh, yeah, no skill whatsoever. Well, who said you need skill to trade, right, Yoder? Oh, my goodness. Uh, anyway. All right. So let's get back to work. All right. In-house casino? Yeah, just keep thinking it's an in-house casino. Everybody that you're paying fees and everything to loves that, man. The more losers in a casino, the better for the house, right? But if you're tired of being a loser and you're tired of all of that crap, yeah, that's why 96%, maybe 99% of traders lose, right? That's true. Hey, Mike, I hold back so much, right? I mean, you've worked on a trade desk, Mikey, right? I'm dealing with retail now, so I got to be family friendly, right? But holy cow. Sometimes you just hear the dumbest shit, and it's like, what? Oh, man. Yeah, if you traded like that, I wouldn't even trust you to clean the toilets in my brokerage firm, let alone be on a trade desk. But, hey, to each their own, right? So, inventory is long over 7,009, Stuart, but inventory as a session is short. Now, let's go take a look and see why that is. You see, yesterday, the inventory is above our current price. So the inventory is above us. That means that's supply. Supply equals resistance. That's why we have a poor high, sellers competing at 7,014. Right? You know someone who's blown 300 evaluations? Wow. Oh, I hope he's having fun. That's a lot of evaluations to blow. Oh my goodness. I've never heard of that. Uh, Beautiful. I feel good for the firms. The firms are making good money off of him. Oh my goodness. So now, Stuart, because what does it cost to trade a micro today this morning? Alexander put it in a few hours ago. So it's $594 in margin to trade a micro, 5,945 to trade a mini. The POC is up here, which means they parked the inventory up here. So Stuart, you are going to be very familiar with inventory. So the supply is above current price. That equals resistance. That's why we have competitive selling at 14. Even though inventory corrected higher, right? But it ran into a wall of sellers at 14. So had you been long, say you went long here at 7, and it creeped up on that inventory correction, you'd know probably around 13, 14 that you'd be a seller, right? You know, if you'd gotten long here, that's your move. You know, we like to look below and fail. But because contract volume is half of what it was last night, it's slow, right? It's slow. You could see, you know, for those of you who don't understand how markets work, I highly suggest you come into the trading syndicate and learn. It'll be the best $29 you ever spend, provided that you can pay attention, right? If you can pay attention, I will teach you, right? We do try and make this simple, right? So when should you trade? So first of all, if you have a brokerage account at like places like AMP Futures and these places, you'll get a, you know, at a discount brokerage house, you'll get an email saying, listen, where you're paying 40 or $50 to trade a micro, buddy, it's 10 times that price now because we got to protect our cash because you have no clue what you're doing. So you're going to have to put up $594. Soon as you see that, you know that there's news coming out in the morning, right? So that means it takes out a huge number of pajama traders. So there's less liquidity, there's less people in the store transacting business, right? You don't need 10K to trade with AMP, Stuart. That's completely wrong. Right? That's the best way to lose 10K is to put 10K in a brokerage account when you don't know what you're doing. Right? That's why those funded accounts are good for people who are serious about the business because they learn discipline and they learn rules, which is why retail traders never make any money because they don't have discipline or rules. So the best way to lose 10K is to go put it in a brokerage account. Depending on how irresponsible and stupid you are, you'll lose it very quickly or you might take a long time to lose it, right? So, especially if you don't know what you're doing. You just, you know, you might get lucky a couple of times, but you're just going to blow that money up. So don't do that. Come into our room, learn how to trade, use a funded account. Now, I know a lot of people are anti-funded trading accounts, right? Sure, if you use them like a video game and you're a nutcase, right? You know, and you know, you're a few sandwiches short of a picnic, you will blow up accounts left, right, and center, like our, you know, as Yoder said, right? But if you're serious, you'll play by the rules, you'll actually learn the business, and you'll develop some skill and some discipline, which unfortunately, as a retail trader, you're going to need discipline. You can't get around it. I tried. There's no way you could cheat. So if there was a way to cheat, I would have found it. There isn't. So, you know, you either grin and bear it or you go find something else to do, right? And, you know, some people treat trading like, okay, this week I'm going to learn how to make flan. Next week I'm going to learn how to do underwater basket weaving. Next week I'm going to trade. The week after that I'm going to try skydiving. That's cool, right? You could do whatever you want. But if you're serious about making a living, you know, you got to buckle down, get some discipline, and learn the business, right? Buying indicators and paying for trading courses, right? You know, that's it. I don't know what that is, Mike. It doesn't sound very, I don't know. What are you trying to make? What's going on, Mike? How's Oregon treating you? Right? Oh, oh, okay. That's a hell of an acronym. Not one I've never heard. Oh, yeah, there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Not in this business. Underwater flat making and skydiving. That was your minor at UH? Beautiful. Uh, I know people who get payouts from these firms. The traders in my room get payouts from these firms. I hear a lot of people going, "Oh, they don't pay out," but they don't follow the rules. They don't even know what the rules are until they're denied a payout. Then they freak out, have a hissy fit, right? Listen, it's a business. They're not just going to give you money for being a nutcase, right? There's no participation awards. You don't just show up and they give you business. This is the most stingy business in the world. You guys don't realize this. Wall Street is a place where money goes in and never comes back out, okay? Right? Unless you own a Bentley dealership or a Riva yacht brokerage, right? You're not going to see any of the money from Wall Street unless you do the right thing and trade smart, right? Mike, you got way too much free time on your hands. You got to get your girlfriend to give you a to-do list. There you go, Yoder, right? You trade your micros, you make a couple of $100 a day, you build up your consistency, you build up your skill. That's a real trader. That is a proper trader. You're doing proper business. You know, I used to trade for this billionaire, and we used to call him the freak. And he'd say, "All right, mate, we're going to do some proper business." That's proper business, right? You build your consistency, and then you start slowly increasing your contract size. Then you go to the midi, and that $200 a day will be 1,000 to 1,500 a day. But it takes time, right? Right? This is not a place where you just drive a truck up to the exchange and they fill it full of cash and you drive away. That's not how this works, right? So, anywho, now, do you trade this or not? Right? It's going to be a bit of a quick session again today. I've got this stupid cold and I'm almost done. Look at the candles here, folks. This is a simple lesson that you're going to learn today. This is when you don't part with your money. When it's doing stuff like that, you just leave it alone. There was a trade here. If you caught it, there's a trade here and a trade here to the long side. But this is, you'll notice, people were asking me about the balance zone, the cost basis zone. Tonight it's only 3 points, right? It's 3 points and it is choppy as hell. There is no trade to be had, right? Mike, Mike, dial back the Diet Coke, okay, brother? Oh man, it's coming on midnight. Mike's witching hour. So what happens to people who code? They turn into werewolves around midnight. Uh, yeah, you can make money doing this. I mean, $200 a day? I'll take that. Crap, man. That's 4 grand a month. That's an extra $4,000 a month, right? And if you're not going to take 4 grand a month, I'll take it. Ain't too proud to beg, as the song says, right? That takes some skill too to make $200 a day trading a couple of micros, right? It's beautiful. That's okay. Now, instead of going down the rabbit hole on this poor guy's P&L, let's ask some questions about, you guys have any questions since it's slower than molasses running down a tree in the middle of a Quebec winter? Sorry, I should say maple syrup. Okay, instead of going down this guy's rabbit hole, right? Does anybody have any relevant questions? Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the London Open and I'll shut her down because there's no, I'll just keep talking and talking and talking, right? Anyone? Okay. Everybody wants to criticize this poor guy's statement. Nobody wants to talk about trading. Come on, guys. Let's get real here. How much money do you need to move the market? How much you got? What, are you like a secret billionaire and you want to do something? Give me a DM. We'll talk. There's never any rabbits at the bottom of the rabbit hole. That's the thing. Guys, give me some questions about the business, right? What do you need help with? No? Yes? Maybe? Well, we got 5 minutes till London opens. Let's see what happens. It's going to be a slow night. Hey, I love Bakersfield, Cisco. You know, other than putting $5 million down into a dry hole. You know, every time I've been to Bakersfield, the people have been absolutely amazing. I love Bakersfield. The people are the best. Help with trading addiction? Go to a therapist. Learning to walk away from a trade? Radovan, come work in our trading room for a month. I'll teach you. Right? If you can't walk away from a trade after making money, you really, really, really need to take a serious look at whether you're serious about making money in this business. Now, what do you do for a living? Right? Would you do that same behavior at work? Because all this stuff you guys have about revenge trading, FOMO, over trading, you wouldn't do that at work, right? If you were a dentist, would you do some FOMO root canals? Hello, sir. There's nothing wrong with your teeth, but I'm going to start doing a root canal just because I'm bored. Or I'm addicted to dentistry. Do you ever hear a baker doing FOMO baking? Then you should stay at work and not trade, Radovan. If you can't treat trading like a job or a business, you have no business doing it. Unless you're trading on, unless you're like the 300 account guy who blows up accounts and you're just having fun. The overnight high is a poor high. For what reasons did price reject at the recent test of the overnight high? Supply. Good question, Scott. I assume your name is Scott because it says 7 caught. Or I'll just call you 7. Right? So why did price reject? Because the sellers are sitting there competing. Price rejects at a level where sellers sit and compete. Right? So if you're sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and Cisco's sitting there, and Stuart's sitting there, and one of us starts selling a tick lower, we'll all start joining. Because you have to price compete, because you have to get rid of your inventory. And the inventory from yesterday is here. Bids and offers, can you refresh how to spot on a 1-minute candle? It's the dream we are sold and people chase and do stupid. Okay. Sorry, Stuart. I don't understand. Bids and offers, can you refresh how to... just watch this here. So, like, I use Sierra chart, right? What changed since the volume data? I got simple, Vox. It's been a journey, man. It's been a real journey, right? Especially trying to teach people. If you try and teach people, you know, 40 concepts or 4 to 5 concepts that they need to make money, it's not going to work. You need to keep it really, really simple. So, Stuart, the offer is here at 12, right? You know that there's going to be sellers at 12 and a half and at 13. So if the offer lifts, that means the sellers have seen buyers and they're raising price. If the offer moves down, it means sellers see buyers walking away and are lowering price. Just like when you go and when you're bartering with somebody, right? Radovan, that statement means nothing. That's completely wrong. If you buy 10,000 shares of NVIDIA, market makers are only going to lift the bids if that order is complete. They're not going to lift the order for you. They don't care about you. If they don't have any inventory at that price, they'll raise the offer. Very simple. Don't worry about all that. Ask me a trading question. Yeah, losses are business expenses. Every business has an expense, right? So your losses, your stop outs, they're business expenses. Stops are insurance and information. You're getting a 2-for-1 deal on a stop, right? You're getting information and you are getting insurance on your account. Pax is a good guy. No, it's bad business to trade distribution, especially if it's choppy, Vox. Right. There we go. London's opening. London usually likes to tickle the lower stops. Let's see. So if you're short, you saw there was a seller, you're short 12. I didn't take that trade. I'm still not trading this week until I feel better. Right? So you see a seller, you see a seller, you see a seller, you see a seller, you see a seller. Right? So if you shorted against that, use 12 as a stop, you'd come down here and use that as a cover. That's pretty much it. So we took the K stop. We haven't taken the J stock stop. The overnight point POC is underneath us, so we're still in distribution. Let's see if we can take the J low and come down here to 7. Not much going on. That was pretty much the most dramatic move of the night. We got a bunch of single prints, 69.92 to 69.70. Oh, those aren't single prints. That's called excess. So when you get letters by themselves at the top or bottom of a profile, it's called excess. To get single prints, you need to have, see, this is excess. These are single prints. Single prints separate two distributions. Excess happens at the top and the bottom. So there are no single prints. And that's pretty much it for tonight. Pretty slow. Let's give it a couple of more minutes and see if we could take out 6, 7,000 and 9. 9 and 14. Yeah, that makes sense. It's very slow. Well, we got news at 8:30. Margins are increased, right? Yeah, it's one of those little nitpicky details about market profile, right? So single prints say either trap longs or trap shorts. Excess just means the market opened and drived, right? The market opened up and it drove higher yesterday because the inventory of the overnight session was underneath us, right? No, excess is not a good indication of size traders, right? See, Stuart, the longer you're in this room, You got to understand that the size traders are the ones who hold long positions in size. They are the wholesalers, and they will set the price according to the order flow. That's all you really need to know. So what you need to do, my brother, is to watch that red line. If it goes up, don't short. If it goes down, you can short. You know what I mean? Focus on this. Market profile is great. If you go down the market profile rabbit hole, you will lose yourself and not lose money. Now, if you've been with me for a couple of weeks at least, I've been saying this. What do you need to know in market profile? Poor high, poor low. Where's the inventory? Signal prints. That's pretty much it. And the stops on a half hour, which you could use a half hour bar chart. Take that, the rest of it, throw it away because it's not going to serve you. I spent years going down the market profile rabbit hole until I figured out what was important and what you could actually translate into money. Right? The rest of it is a wonderful intellectual exercise. Right? If you're going to sit around and smoke a pipe and drink a cognac and talk with John Houseman, that's beautiful. But if you actually want to make some money, keep it simple. Right? There's a lot of people in this business who love to pontificate about this and that, and they bring up data points and all of these things. Don't get sucked into that. Keep it simple. It's a simple business. It's always been a simple business. Right? They love to overcomplicate the business so they can fool you, baffle you, and take your money. Cut through all the BS. Come to tradingsyndicate.org. We'll teach you how to cut through the BS, learn how to make money in a practical way. Right? Everything we do is based on business. None of it is based on, oh, it's random. Right? If a client gave me a 1,000,000 share order to sell, and I call it, he goes, how are we looking? And I go, I haven't done anything because it's random. Well, that's my last job. Right? That whole random walk stuff is a bunch of BS. Right? So we found the bid. We couldn't take out 7,009 and the offer lifted. There you go, Stuart. Right? You don't need to worry about what the size traders are doing. They just told you. See, when the offer lifts, they see buyers. Why? Because under 7,009 quarter, there are a bunch of unfilled buy orders which are creating support. So the large sellers see them, pretend this is a glass door, and they walk away. And look, the buyers are following price higher. Do you get it? Think of the offer as food on a piece of string, and the buyers are like a dog chasing it. Right? Get it? Very simple. Right? Then they're going to be sellers, sellers, and sellers. So had you gone long here at 9.5, put your stop at 9, there's going to be sellers at 11. Right? Very simple. This is simple. Now you have to decide whether or not it's tradable, and I don't like this chop. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't sit in it for hours and trade it. Right? If you know that there are sellers here and you buy it here, this is your profit. Is it really worth you taking the trade? Right? I can't tell you that. You have to determine that according to your business plan. If you don't have a business plan, right? Yeah, exactly. So this candle came down. There was a bid here. It came down. See, the bid was here, Stuart, and then the bid was here, and then the bid was here. Right? So every time a market liquidates, it will find the bid. You see? Good observation. Now you're cooking with gas. Nice. Beautiful. The more you concentrate and focus, the more you will see. It's quite a wonderful thing. Right? Then you have to start, then the problem is execution, right? That's why we have the same execution model where you always do the same thing all the time. And then you learn how to vary it to different market conditions, right? So what we do in our room, and especially in my mentoring program, is I work with you one-on-one, and we teach you how to execute. We're going to do an execution class tomorrow at 11 a.m. in the room after the morning New York session, and we'll go into that in depth, and it'll be recorded. See, there's a seller right here. You can see it. Plain as the nose on your face, there is a seller here. Right? There's an 11 seller. They stop selling just under 10. They start selling at 11. This is a little distribution cost basis right there. That's all they can get for it. Right? Now, if we run out of buyers, they're going to take out the blows of those two candles, and it'll trade at 9. See what I'm saying? These markets are very slow right now, but if you can discipline yourself to sit and watch for a little while, it'll be amazing how much you will observe. Right? If you could sit and watch a market without jonesing like a crackhead for a trade, it'll be amazing how much information you will retain. Because once you take that pressure off yourself, see, there's still bids there. Let's see if they film them now. Right? We've hit them 3 times, and there's still unfilled bids under 9 quarters. See how the offer is lifting? Watch. We came down to 9 1/4, and the offer lifted, and it's printing 9 3/4. Right? If you can sit without that devil on your shoulder going, "There's a trade. Where's the trade? I need to take a trade." Right? If you could get rid of that and just sit and observe, you will be surprised at how much information you will retain, and that will help you when you start executing. Right? Because you can't execute when you're in this fog of I need to make money, right? All of that stuff. You guys trade desperate. You guys are all trading desperately, right? Because you think that it's a free money game, and it's not. It's a business that requires your discipline and your respect, right? If you don't respect the business, it will chew you up and spit you out faster than, you could say Mary Poppins, right? Watch the offer. When the offer lifts, they've seen buyers, right? Don't trade desperate, man. Don't trade desperate. Desperation kills. Watch now. Let's see if we can get a 9 print. So now the sellers have moved from here to here. Top of the candles are where the sellers initiate. You don't need any fancy software to tell you that. It's a simple business concept. There's a 9 print, and the offer lifts. If 9 breaks, we will look for bids before VWAP, because people will front run VWAP. So just around here. See? Just sit and watch. When it's slow like this, sit and watch for a while, make some observations, write them down. Trust me. Smart traders sit and watch markets. They're not always trading. They're not always like pumped up with Red Bull and just blowing money. That's bad business. That's stupid. Right? Don't make stupid business decisions. Now, see how they're offering lower? Right? Because now that inventory is above us. The sellers moved from here down to here. The next candle, when it opens, if the high of that candle cannot take out 7,009, we will come down somewhere, and if the selling is enough, we'll tag VWAP. If not, we'll get a little bounce here. Very simple, folks. See? Top of the next candle that we're in is underneath 7,009. There we go. Let's see if we can tag VWAP. See how it's going back and forth, and the offer is going back and forth, and it's kind of choppy right at VWAP? That's a reaction. See the space between the bottom of this candle and VWAP, those are unfilled bids. Now, when the next candle opens, let's see if it can take out VWAP. Next candle opens. Watch this low here. Inventory is above us now. Make sense? Beautiful. It's a slow train to VWAP, AZS. That's right. Cisco's right. He says, don't forget to zoom out. Right? We've had 1, 2, look below and fail, 3, 4. We've had 4 bounces off VWAP. Yeah. My VWAP is set at the Globex Open, George. So 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I use 23-hour VWAP for the entire ES session. It's the most popular one, and the reason I do that, not that I have anything against anchored VWAP, right? I think it's brilliant. However, I like to trade where I want to know where all the majority of the traders are going to come in. And most trading software sets it at this level using 23-hour session VWAP, right? So that's 6 p.m. your time, 11 p.m. UK time. 6 p.m. in New York if you're in New York. And pretty much VWAP is the only thing I use because it's an institutional benchmark, right? It's kind of dancing above VWAP there, AZS. I don't know. Let's see if it breaks. If it breaks, you're looking for 6. No problem, George. Now this, look at that. There's sellers here, and they stop selling here. So it's really like that's just, I wouldn't trade this right here, right? I like trading from the edge. Let's see if we could get a print at 8.5. Quarter bid, half offered, 8.5 print. See how the offer is now 3/4. 3/4 print. Let's see if we could get a print at 9. Not yet. See? Rewind that 100 times, Stuart. Watch that. Learn it. 9 print. Nothing for sale under 8 anymore for the time being. Can we get a 9.25 print? Beautiful. 9.5. Quarter bid, half offered. Next level is here at 10. Well, first of all, Worm, you have to understand that's short from 9. You know there's going to be bids at VWAP. So are you going to take the trade for 2 points in a choppy market? So you'd be shorting 8.5, stop 9, 9.25, bids above VWAP. You have to make a business decision based on what's going on. There's going to be different times when you trade and when you shouldn't trade. So you alone have to decide whether or not the trade is worth it. Got it? Cool. That's why, it's like when a surfer goes to the ocean, they watch the ocean. If it's all choppy and there's no waves, were you going to go out there and just get beat up? No, right? You got to assess what the market conditions are. That's the hardest thing, and that's why we keep you. That's why we want you guys to come in the room because I've seen every market known to man. Well, other than when a Federal Reserve chairman gets a subpoena. Other than that, you've seen we've seen a lot of different kinds of price action, right? I traded through long-term capital. I traded through 9/11. I traded through the housing crisis. I've seen all different kinds of order flow. I've created order flow, right? So come and learn. Spend some time. You got to spend a lot of time watching, unfortunately. You're going to spend about 90% of your time watching and the rest executing, right? That's hard for a lot of people who can't sit still, man, right? So, maybe get a yo-yo, do something at your desk to distract yourself. Ace Greenberg, who ran Bear Stearns, he used to walk around the desk with a yo-yo, right? You know, distract yourself so you don't spend money needlessly, right? If you don't have discipline, you'll have to distract yourself until you develop discipline. Okay, so now we have sellers here, and I missed that. You see? See, I missed the top of that candle right here. That's pretty much it for me, folks. Have a great morning. Stay out of trouble. Come join us at Trading Syndicate if you want to learn how to do this in a practical, common sense manner. Right? We'll get you profitable. All you got to do is pay attention and do what you're told. I'm JJ, vwaptrader1 on X, and we will see you guys at 9 o'clock for our next session. And yeah, I'm going to go rest my voice so I can speak later on. Thank you, everyone. Have a great morning. Bye for now.